Good morning. We're back. It's Monday and it's the second week of the last 6 weeks, which means we have 5 weeks left to get all of our work done. I just wanted to show you a little reminder for the assignments that you guys had last week. One of these will go in the grade book, whichever one is higher, so make sure you would do at least one of them. It's usually easier to do this reading activity before you do the follow-up, just because they're connected. But if you don't do super well in this one, if you do the second activity, that will boost your grade and I'll be able to give you the highest grade possible. Because even though some of you might have been passing the last 6 weeks, if you didn't pass the fourth 6 weeks, you won't be able to pass the semester. So I want to get you guys have higher grades so you can pass the semester. Okay, but today's assignment is on poetry, so it's the same kind of theme where we're talking about community and all the things that go into building a community and your identity. So much of who we are as a group of people depends on who we are as an individual. So 2 weeks ago, you guys did that video where it was the poets who were talking about themselves, and a lot of you guys who did your work really liked it and you really connected to it and you thought deeply about your names and their names and how that defines who you are. So one of the poets who was in that video with the woman, Elizabeth Acevedo, she was in that. It's called Slam Poetry. The poems that you're going to read, 2 poems, they're very short. They're both from a book that she wrote called The Poet X. In the book, she has a main character called Xiomara, and she explores how her identity about her name and who she is and who she's supposed to be fits into the communities around her. And that could be her family, her friends, her school, and her church. Just all the expectations that different people have for her based on her name, where she comes from, her family, all those things. And many of you maybe have the same expectations or different expectations, and you just try to figure out who you are and how that works in society. So the 2 poems are called Names and Twins' Name. So I want you to think about both of those poems as you read the first one and already be thinking about the connections. All right, so I'm going to read through, like I always do with a poem. I'm just going to read all the way through the poem, and then I'm going to go back and think about things, okay? So let's see, I'll give you guys a moment. So it's called Names, and we want you to think, and we're telling you right off at the beginning, she doesn't feel connected to Elizabeth Acevedo because she feels like it doesn't reflect her personality or culture. Focus more on that first name, Elizabeth. My sister-in-law is named Elizabeth. I have another friend who's from California whose name is Elizabeth. The Queen of England is Elizabeth. So think about all those different people whose names are Elizabeth and they have totally different backgrounds. So that might have something to do with why she doesn't feel connected to it. It's not very specific to who she is and her culture. So let's think. So do you think that she would connect more to Xiomara than Elizabeth? So names. She says, I'm the only one in the family without a biblical name. Xiomara isn't even Dominican. So she doesn't have a name that's in the Bible or Dominican. I know because I Googled it. It means one who is ready for war. And truth be told, that description is about right, because I even tried to come into the world in a fighting stance, feet first. Had to be cut out of mommy after she'd given birth to my twin brother Xavier, just fine. And my name labors out of some people's mouths in the same awkward and painful way. Until I have to slowly say, Xiomara. I've learned not to flinch the first day of school as teachers get stuck stupid trying to figure it out. Mommy says she thought it was a saint's name, gave me this gift of battle, and now curses how well I live up to it. My parents probably wanted a girl who would sit in the pews wearing pretty florals and a soft smile. They got combat boots and a mouth silent until it's sharp as an island machete. So there are a few questions that go along with that name, or go along with this poem. And a couple of things I want you to think about. If her name means one who is ready for war, does that tell you something about her attitude? And it tells you it actually does. The description is about right. So normally babies, when they are delivered, they come out head first. So they pull them out by their head and the legs come out last. So the fact that she came out feet first is a problem, and that's what caused her mother to be in so much pain, because that's not the way that babies are supposed to come out. So she had to be cut out after this woman had just given birth to a baby just fine. Xavier was fine. He came out head first. she had to be cut out. And so that maybe influenced the relationship between her and her mother, at least in her eyes. And then other people also have a hard time saying that name, obviously. I'll say whenever I first started working at TJ, I saw a name starting with an X. I was like, I don't even know how to start. Someone give me some help. And so she's used to, on the first day of school, teachers not knowing how to say her name. And she doesn't even flinch anymore. She doesn't even think anything about it. So think about how that changes your attitude if you're so used to people getting your name wrong and wrong and wrong that you don't even expect it to be right anymore. You expect them to be wrong. And her mom thought it was a saint's name, but it's not. And it means one who was ready for war. And so it's like her mom gave her this name that means one who is ready for war. And then is surprised when she's always fighting. It's like, you're the one who gave me this name. Did you not look it up? And her parents, she thinks that her parents have this expectation of a girl who would sit at church in pews wearing flowers and smile and be quiet. But she's not like that. She's telling you straight up, she's completely opposite. She's got combat boots and she is silent unless she is talking, and then it's really sharp and aggressive. So as you go through these questions, just really think about how Elizabeth, as the character Xiomara, is fighting against these expectations of her parents, of her culture, and wanting to fit in, but also feeling like she was given a name that doesn't fit in ever. So that's how I'm going to address those questions right here. Use the notes on the side to help you. So once you're done with those questions, you're going to click this arrow. And you're going to keep going. So remember, this was written by the same woman, and it's called Twins' Name. So remember, she said, I was given birth to after my twin. So we know she's got a twin brother, and we also know what his name is if we were paying attention. So think about how her relationship with her brother is revealed in this poem, and maybe how it tells you something more about her own identity. So when you think of a twin, do you think those people feel a really close connection, or do you feel like they're not close? Why do you have that expectation, and what do you think they live up to that? So this one's really short. For as long as I can remember, I've only ever called my brother Twin. He actually is named after a saint, but I've never liked to say his name. It's a nice name or whatever, even starts with an X like mine. But it just doesn't feel like the brother I know. His real name is Romami Teacher's Father Sean. But Twin, only I can call him that. A reminder of the pair will always be. So remember, I put a little note over here. Her mother thought Xiomara was a saint's name. It was not, but her brother actually has the saint's name. He came out the way he was supposed to. He goes by that regular name, but she doesn't call him that. She calls him Twin as a reminder of the pair they'll always be. So we've only got a couple of questions for you for this short poem, but really I want you to think about the close relationship and how even her relationship with her brother shows you about this woman's identity. Okay, so as you guys are working through those, just make sure you answer the questions. Remember, I can see if you've actually answered it. I just want to show you an example of when you don't actually do the work. So you'll see, if I go to this one, I got a couple people who said this was turned in, just as an example, and I think you guys just are confused about how to do it. It says it was turned in, but you guys notice that there is no difference to the assignment that I posted. So just because you guys say turned in, I am going to look at your assignments, and you need to actually make some changes to these. Okay, so you'll see that's when I look at the activity that I assigned to you. You have a couple of options. Just read the instructions and you'll be able to figure that one out. All right, so I'll go back to this just as a reminder of what you're supposed to do, called names and Twins' Name. You'll have an activity later this week that has to do with these poems, so that'll be able to help you. So please just let me know if you guys need help. I'll be on the Google Meet link that's right here. You just click on that and I'll be able to join you and help you out if you have any questions about this assignment. Okay, have a good day, and I hope to talk to some of you guys today. Bye.